What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you some more facts on the Warhammer 40K universe. Now today we are diving into my fan chapter, or fan legion for that matter, the Celestial Sons. So if you guys don't know about this legion, I highly recommend you guys go check out the playlist titled Celestial Sons. Now lately I've been getting more questions as to why I have Catan shards within my Space Marine Legion. Now, of course, this Legion is not Codex compliant, seeing as how there's still a Legion and not a chapter. But the whole reason behind this is that the 11th Legion, the Celestial Sons, are basically hunting Catan in order to harness their power to achieve their goal. And their goal being the revival of the Emperor. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to combat the freaking Grey Knights, the AdMech, get to Mars, and take control of the Void Dragon. With the Void Dragon at their disposal, they can then go to Terra and use the Void Dragon to control the machine spirit of the Golden Throne to thus revive the Emperor. Now this is indeed an impossible task, and no Space Marine Legion can accomplish this, which is why they have found the power of these ancient gods, and now they are going to use them to revive the Emperor. Will they actually be able to do this? I mean, I don't even know myself. But this is a pretty epic task nonetheless, so much so that they've even had a few, I wouldn't say tips, but I mean they're being kind of guided by Trazian. Now, should they trust this guy? Probably not, but for right now their goals seem to ally. But anyway, with this being said, there are currently 2 Catan shards that are under the possession of the Celestial Sons. The first being Merebi, the Form Seeker, and they have 12 shards of this Catan. Now the reason why they have so many shards of this Catan was because after the events of basically being betrayed by the Emperor, the Celestial Sons were kind of drifting out in space, just trying to survive, trying to recuperate, trying to figure out what they were going to do after essentially being kicked out of the Imperium and having about half their force defect and basically become renegades. So they stumbled across an old planet that used to be a tomb world for the Necrons. But eventually they found out that this was no tomb world. This was a planet-sized prison of a Catan shard. And within the core of this planet-sized prison, there were various shards of this Catan. So I'll get to that a little bit later. But for now, I just want to tell you guys that if you want more information on these Catan shards, I greatly recommend you guys go over to our playlist on the Celestial Sons, and there's about 3 to 4 videos that you need to check out. The first being the 40 facts on the Prison of the Gods. This talks about exactly what they saw in this planet-sized prison. The second video that you should check out is 40 facts on Merebi, the Form Seeker. This gives you more lore, more information on the first Catan shard that they use. And then after that, check out 40 Facts on the Celestial Sons / the Infernal Sons, Fading Light Part 1 and 2. This is a huge battle that has really big ramifications for both my Chaos Marines and the Loyalists here. And it deals with a very interesting battle between a Catan shard and the Avatar of Cain. So go check that out, guys. Really epic stuff right there. But in the meantime, I just want to give you a little bit of an overview between these 2 Catan shards, and I just want to get your feedback on what you think, what I should change, what I should improve upon, and how you guys can play these 2 custom Catan shards in your 8th edition 40k games. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into 40 facts on the Catan shards of the Celestial Sons. So the first Catan shard that we will be talking about today is one that you guys are pretty familiar with. Well, at least you guys that have stuck around for quite a while. So that is Merebi the Form Seeker. So the Form Seeker is a Catan that envelops herself in a cloak of her surroundings. Now she does this because she has a very weak necrodermis body. Now that being said, she is one of the weaker Catan shards, and her power level is less than that of the Deceiver. However, her strength does fluctuate, and it is highly dependent on what she uses as her armor. So for example, she can cloak herself in magma and molten rock to become a freaking golem of fire and really sturdy defenses, and she can even absorb the properties of Necron obelisks to harden her necrodermis and just be more tougher in battle. So with that being said, the images you see here is what I used to represent her model. This is an Age of Sigmar Sylvaneth model. I believe it's pronounced Dryka Hamadreth or something like that. So basically, that little blue part of the model is the actual Catan, and everything else is what she's using as her cloak. Now again, she's got a weak necrodermis body, which is why she's constantly looking for a new form to better suit her. And therefore, you can use different models to represent her. For example, if you're playing on like a, I don't know, like a city map, city terrain, you can have her envelop herself in like brick or whatever whatever she's being surrounded by. So that's kind of what this is. So if you want to play her in 8th edition, her fractured personalities is immune to natural law, which gives her a +1 to saving rolls, and sentient necrodermis, which she gets to regain D3 wounds at basically the beginning of each of your turns. Now the reason why I chose these two abilities, or personalities for her, is because the immune to natural law thing is basically saying that her necrodermis is kind of sentient in a way, which is why it's kind of rebelling against her, and because of that, it's highly sensitive of her surroundings. So if she senses like bolter shells coming at her, she'll instinctively react to that to try to kind of get away. So because of that, kind of fits with the +1 to her rolls, her saving rolls, that is. And then sentient necrodermis, obviously she can wrap herself around with her surroundings, so I thought that's kind of a good way of representing how she gains back wounds. Now for her powers of the Catan, with this I had to think about it a little bit, but it made perfect sense to use Seismic Assault and Sky of Falling Stars. So with Seismic Assault, it's pretty much exactly what she's all about. She uses stone, the earth, basically whatever she's surrounded by, to assail the foe at the command of herself. So she can like put her palm outstretched, and like literally the ground underneath the enemy will try to, crush them or whatever. Now Sky of Falling Stars, with this ability, she basically rips chunks of the planet out, and she kind of shapes them into massive meteors, which she then throws back at the world, crushing the enemy in an explosive impact. So I thought that kind of fits her pretty well. But if you guys have any other ideas or whatnot, let me know in the comments. But I think this is a pretty solid way of how to field her on the battlefield. So again, she's got immune to natural law and sentient necrodermis, and for her powers, Seismic Assault and Sky of Falling Stars. And now we will talk about the brand new Catan that I am, I guess, showing off for the first time right now, and this is Aran'Ku the Ripper. So with this guy's lore, it's pretty fresh, so I'm still open to what your guys' comments are, if you guys want to change something. With Merebi, I'm pretty down-packed. I like the way she is, so I probably won't change that. But here's the lore behind Aran'Ku the Ripper. So he's a Catan shard that specializes in altering reality around itself. So he has gained the name the Ripper due to him leaving tears in reality wherever he goes. Now this was the most difficult of Catan for the Celestial Sons to ever face. Even with the psychic abilities of the Celestial Sons and the use of a shard of Merebi, the Formseeker, they were still barely able to contain Aran'Ku inside of its God Shackle. So the Ripper has yet to be unleashed ever since this battle, for fear of him running rampant once again. So again, this guy is all about tearing apart the enemy. He's a very powerful Catan, even being sharded, but he's just really powerful and really hard to kind of control. So he's kind of used as like a last resort type of weapon. So with the 8th edition rules being set, for Aran'Ku the Ripper, his fractured personality consists of Cosmic Tyrant, meaning that he can use 2 powers of the Catan per turn, and he also has Anthropic Touch, meaning that he can re-roll failed wounds in close combat, which I feel like these two kind of fit him. He's supposed to be a really powerful Catan, thus he can use 2 abilities, and in close combat he can just rip you apart like as easily as tearing reality. So Anthropic Touch I think really fits him there. Now for the powers of the Catan, I chose Antimatter Meteor, which is when this Catan hurls a crackling orb of antimatter at the enemy, which will literally de-atomize them instantly. This is a really powerful attack. I think if it hits, it does like D3 mortal wounds, so that's pretty cool there. And for the other power of the Catan, it's Transdimensional Thunderbolt, which is a flickering bolt of energy which is being launched at the enemy, resulting in a very flashy explosion. So with this one, it has the same range as the Antimatter Meteor, and I think it does like the same damage, D3 mortal wounds, as long as you hit on a 4+. So with these 2 abilities, you have a 24-inch range of basically doing 6 mortal wounds on an enemy. Now with that being said, that's pretty devastating, especially since they're mortal wounds. So that kind of fits the whole concept of Aran'Ku being, you know, like a really powerful Catan shard. He can really hold his own, can really get in there and mess you up both at range and in close combat. So again guys, let me know what you guys think about these 2 Catan shards, especially more on Aran'Ku the Ripper, since I'm not 100% on his lore, his abilities, his personality, that kind of thing. So if you guys have your own ideas, let me know in the comments below, or if you guys enjoyed this, let me know as well. I've got more stories coming at you, especially some on Aran'Ku as to how he was friggin' decimating the Celestial Sons. It's a really badass, especially if you guys want to see Catan Shard versus Catan Shard. There's a really good fight in there. But in the meantime, please check out our 40 facts on the Celestial Sons. There's tons of lore on there, tons of lore Catan Shards on there, so check it out guys. And of course guys, this is the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate. We post each and every day, so stay subscribed for more 40K content. And of course, I'll see you guys tomorrow.